Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Lili nishmat Guten Chodesh, everybody. Guess what? We have an amazing guest in the house. Oh, that's right. What did I just say? Oh no. Good morning. What a day. It's going to be one of those days. But you know what? I'm very, very excited. We have with us Seth Hellman. Get over here, Seth. Shalom Aleichem. Seth has been with us, I don't know, from when? Brachas. Wow. Unbelievable. All the way from the beginning. Seth was an unaffiliated Jew who found us somehow. I don't know, he's in college somewhere. He didn't even have a Gemara. You didn't have a siddur to your name, right? No. Zero. And guys from the shiur sent him Sfarim, Sidurim. Do you have a Shas yet? Shiduchim? No. Unbelievable. So since Brachas, wow, one of the few and only from Brachas, amazing. Where were you, in Pennsylvania?
No, Boston.
No, now. But where were you then? Back in the day when
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire, that's Boston?
Well, yeah, close enough.
Next to Rishcha, okay. It's my mother's from Boston, but I don't know anything about it. Okay, fine. What do we got here today? Eli Weinberg on the way to Israel for his father Shloshim this Tuesday, and I got a very nice email. This picture was taken by his brother, if I could find the email. Let's see. Yeah. Attached is a photo of Eli Weinberg, son of Reb Eli, while on the plane on the way to Israel. Photo taken by his brother Rafal, both proud MDY members. Eli Weinberg was a very special person. I had the chance to know him for the past 30 years. He would greet every single person, no matter who, with the warmest smile. My last conversation with him was about the live shiur in Brooklyn and how he enjoyed it so much. May his neshama have an aliyah. But boys, I take a look at this video. We're running out of time here on this Erev Rosh Chodesh. Why did you guys finish so late? You threw me off with that. Check this out.
Good morning, Rabbi Sai.
The saying goes, we live vicariously through our children. Well, last night you met my son and his friends from Yeshivat Kotel. I'm so jealous. Sounds like it was a great experience. I've been listening since almost the start. Another guy from almost the start. They started with Yevamos. They are inspired by the Daf as I have been. Thank you so much and wish all you the best. Below is a picture from your meeting. My son is the one on the left. Moshe Margolius, Silver Spring, Maryland. L'chvod Rebelli, I would like to thank you for helping me have a great year in teaching my 5th grade class in Yeshiva Torah of Adas. As I listen to Yeshiva every morning before I go into class, it gives me tremendous chiyus and a geschmack. That I walk into the class on a high and it reflects onto my talmidim. Your great shiur goes a long way pulling me through the day. Me and my son still talk about the shiur in Flatbush. All right, check it now. Brooklyn. Here's somebody that says, his name is Yoeli Elkan, but not from Muncie, a cousin of that guy from the famous Eli Elkan from, Lakewood. He's a cousin, and we wanted to shiur basis. He drives his car, he listens to the shiur. He got his cousin Mordechai Sapaz got him. He got his brother-in-law, Akiva Pill. Basically, he loves the emails, especially that one of Mo Landy doing Chazar on his flight to Eretz Yisrael. And Shami Goldberg writing about his friend Yoli Duck. But he decided to. Then he had a merch idea. He had this Dave and Buster's card, and it says on it 60 minutes of fun, power hour. He holds it should be part of the merch, not the Dave Buster. Obviously, take out that logo, you put in the MDY logo. Gevaldik. By Aaron Sittner. I want to comment yesterday, the Syrian community. I'm not Sephardi, but I stayed in Deal for a day last summer and davened in the synagogue of Deal. The place is hopping. It looks like every kid in the community is there and learning in the morning. It was an amazing sight to see. They have catered breakfast with toasted, that's the trick. Catered bagels, cheese, coffee, eggs, everything. I wish I would push morning learning where I live as much as they do it in Deal. As Harry Shalom would say, Chazak ubaruch Aaron Sittner. This amazing email, one of my favorites, I'm going to have to leave until tomorrow. It's a beautiful email, written in Hebrew. Choked me up a number of times. Every time I look at it, it chokes me up. All right, today's the sponsor for the koilel is anonymous, of course. Hatzlacha lekol mishpachas MDY. The first parnasah chodesh is Eli Nishmas of Zchorya Shimon HaKohen Wowlerstein Zechat Levrocha by his kids. Ahron Fraiman Lzchus continued parnasah siyadta dishmaya and hatzlacha their belly. The last day by the Boyer family, Lili Nishmas Rebbe Leo Zechron Levrocha. We just saw it's a shloishim. His kids are coming into the shloishim. Ben Rebbe Avraham, Rebbe Leo Zechron Levrocha, Rebbe Avraham Neir Yar. Eli Weinberg A, a dear family friend who suddenly passed away at the age of 59. He loved MDY. Was proud to be a part of this amazing Daf Yomi shiur by the Wolkenstein family and Kemach and Torah and Torah and Kemach by the Lock and Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because Torah is the best segulah. L'ilo nishmas Zchariah bas Yosef. Today's shiur is sponsored by Yochanan, Sruly, and Yosef. It's in honor of our mother's second yahrzeit today, Tessier. Marzelda Rivka Bas Rib Baruch Aleh Shalom, and in honor of our father's 6th yahrzeit yesterday, Chesier. Rabbi Naftali ben Rabbi Yehuda Shmuel. What happened? Yeah, Chav Ches. I don't know. That's I'm reading what it says here. As is Lzchus today, yeah, you're right. If today's Rosh Chodesh, then yesterday was Tess. As is Lzchus for Yeshua's and Refuah's for our family, today is the 44th day in the Omer, and it's not Rosh Chodesh.
It's your twin's birthday today.
It's my twin's birthday today. Wow. It's one of those the Gemara discussed. The mother gave birth now, and then 15 years later. How old are you? 42. Wow, unbelievable. Okay, that's it. You're not even 40 yet? Wow.
And we're twins.
No, we're exactly 10 years apart. Givaldic. So, we're starting a brand new parak. We're pretty much done with the Aral, although we might mention a little bit here and there. We got to see Taisvas before we start anything. Start off a parak with Taisvas. Beautiful Taisvas. Yeish mutares. Pishur Rabbi Yehuda Ber Yantiv Dechein derech hatanel la'achar shepir Lzchus HaMesechta. Once we spoke about all these halachas and Mesechtas Yevamos. Chayzer v'shayna oisam. Now we're doing Chazara. B'loshin katzar. In a very precise manner, in a sikum, 8-minute daf. Kedei shiyu misudarim biyadcha. It should be organized in your hands. Ushmurim, and for safekeep bapeh ubalev. Unbelievable lashon. Should be kept for your mouth, for your heart, in your hands. So we're doing a little chazar now. Most of these concepts we're very familiar with. Yesh mutaris lebaleim v'asuris livimei. So, for the most part, when two people get married, they're mutter to each other, and they're also mutter to the brother-in-laws. If there's a situation of yibum, when the original husband dies, then the Yevama falls to the brother. She's mutter to the brother, she's mutter to the husband, she's mutter to the brother. However, there are cases where she falls liyibum and she's usher to the brother. Can anybody think of such a case? Okay. Huh? You don't have to go that far. It's her father. The Yavam is her father. Okay, I would love to see how that works. How did she marry? What? Oh, the Mishnah sponsored. Where was the last Mishnah? In an Arl somewhere. Yeah, good guess. Here we go. Sponsored anonymously for Lzchus for my wife and children. I guess I can remember that one, Balpeh. Same. Okay. So we're going to have 4 categories. You hear, Lauren? My twin and Lauren are having a schmooze here. How you doing? So, 4 categories where this woman is mutter to her husband, which is normal, but she's usher to her brother-in-law, or she's mutter to her brother-in-law and usher to her husband. She shouldn't have been married to him to begin with. Or mutter to both, or usher to both. Let's see. Yesh mutaris lebaleim v'asuris livmeim. There are those women who are mutter to their own husband, but usher to their yavam. That is the first category. Mutaris livmeim v'asuris lebaleim. This, Rabbi says, is a big chiddush, because they are mutter to the yavam. The yavam has a mitzvah lahakim shem la'achiv, which the brother shouldn't have been married to this woman. The original husband is usher to be married to, and he drops dead, and the Yevama goes to the brother, and he has a special mitzvah to do what? Bring a child to the world and to the guy that was over Isser. Okay? Mutar is leivmeim, asur is lebalim. And mutar is l'elu. That's a classic case that the Yevama is mutar to her husband and mutar to her brother-in-law. V'asur is l'elu. And sometimes the marriage is not good for the husband and not good for the Yevama. Ve'elu, this is the first category. Ve'elu mutar is lebalim, v'asur is leivmeim. Kohen hedyot. A regular kohen, shenosas halmana, who marries an almana. Question. Is there a special mitzvah for a kohen to marry a kohenes? Or you can marry anybody you want. Your kohen, don't you dare answer. I saw you're about to. Anybody? Is there a special inyan for a kohenes to marry a kohen? Or she could just go ahead and marry a Yisrael? It's not a machlokes. Yes, the answer is yes. The kohen should marry a kohenes, the kohenes should marry a kohen, and if they don't, it's not even a sudas mitzvah, it's a sudas rishus. We're going to see it soon. Big chidushim. We learned it in Psachim, nobody remembers, right? Okay. Go weiter. Chazara, boys, chazara. Kohen yishenosas almana v'yesh lo ach kohen gadol. If a kohen marries a widow, an almana, he's allowed to marry her. But his brother, who is the yavam when he dies, is kohen gadol. And kohen gadol can't marry an almana. Okay, so here's the case where she's mutter to her husband, but then if her husband dies, she cannot have yibum because the brother-in-law is a kohen gadol. Chalal shenasak sheira. A chalal. Someone whose father had a relationship that's not kosher. Let's say he was a kohen who married a divorcee and they had a child. That child is a chalal. He's no longer a kohen. Rav Kupferstein, I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm so happy to see you. Chalal shenasak sheira v'yesh lo ach kosher. So the chalal marries a kshera. Now, when he marries this kshera, what does he do to her? The Gemara is going to talk. Is she a kohenes, a Yisraelis? But by him marrying her, she becomes a chalala. V'yesh lo ach kosher. He's a kohen, or the son of a kohen. Halachically, he's not so much a kohen anymore. He's a chalal. Like my friend. I have a friend like that. I told you about it. Good friend. Bali Tshuva. The mother told him she had relations with non-Jews before she got married. So she is a zayna halachically. And then the father, the kohen, married her and they had this son. Regular from guy. Married her. He's a chalal. He doesn't get aliyah, the whole thing. He doesn't get kohen. He gets aliyahs. He's a regular like Yisrael. Chalal shenasak sheira. V'yesh lo ach kosher. So my friend marries a kohenes, let's say. And he renders her a chalala, because he's a chalal. But he has another brother who's a good kohen, because the father divorces his original wife, marries another woman, and they have a kid together. And that's a normal kohen, regular kohen. So, when the chalal dies, not my friend, but the chalal dies, and his wife falls li'ibum to somebody that's kosher. So, and he's also to marry her because he's a kosher kohen and she's a halala. But she could be married to the halal. There's no isser for her to marry a halal. She's a kohenes, Israel. She's allowed to marry a halal. Yisrael shenosa bas Yisrael. Now, a regular marriage between two Yisraelim, but v'yesh lo ach mamzer. So when he dies, she falls to a mamzer. She can't be married to the mamzer. So here's another case where she's mutter to the husband, also to the brother. Mamzer shenos mamzeres. Two mamzerim are allowed to marry each other. V'yesh lo ach Yisrael. And when she falls li'ibam to a regular Yisrael brother, she's also to that one, mutter to her husband. Mutar is lebalei masur is livmeim. The Mishnah just repeats the case that we just spoke about. Ve'elu mutar is livmeim. These are the women that are mutter when they fall li'ibam vasur is lebaleim. They married a no-no. But the brother-in-law is a yes. Kohen gadol shekidish es almana. You have a kohen gadol who was mikadosh, not married. Why? Because if a Kohen Gadol marries, consummates the marriage, what happens? I got to see this. Give that to me for a second. I like that. No, your whole thing. I want to see it.
No, I insist you take your own.
Now I want to see it in action. Come on, I want to show the island what I saw. I don't want to chap. Baron Hirsch is in a house from Lakewood, New Jersey. Another, you know what? Every day this summer, I got to tell you something very interesting. Actually, Shalom Aleichem. Wow, look at this. So he has his screen here, and the MDY thing right over here.
Look what it says.
I got it. What does it say? It's about the Yom. It's not about the Daf. It's about the Yom. Beautiful. I know it said MDY. What does it say over here?
It's not scroll.
How did you do that?
I had it custom made.
Custom made. Wow. But what? You don't know the size of my made. It's going to fit on what?
It's for every Masechta. There's everything in it.
What is this?
This is yours.
With the tablet inside?
Everything on it.
Wow. What a gift.
It's the same.
By the way, I really wanted this. I wanted this.
I know.
But I was too cheap to buy it.
But the main reason why I bought it is because it's going to save you time, because you have links on here, hyperlinks that you just touch on it. You could go to the Makar and you not pull out the safer.
But now everybody's going to say you got it from the tablet. It's not going to. Wow.
I guess you could have more time.
But how do I use what? It comes with the whole. Wow.
Come on.
Look at this. Unbelievable. Yishkoyach. This is merch. Wow. Oh boy, say, pay attention.
You had a problem with the list?
I'm looking for a Tesla, by the way, with the MDY logo. X model, though. All right, wow, beautiful. Wow. I promise you, I didn't notice this. I was just like, wow, that's cool that he's sitting around. Yesterday, I got to tell you something else. I was just telling, yesterday, a guy was making a trip somewhere. Like, he stopped in Eretz Yisrael to say hello to me from Lakewood. First, I thought it was a joke. So, like the Yosef said, some guy, I said, oh, whatever. He knocked on the door. My wife said, I'm not available. He says, I have to catch my flight. I just stopped here. I promise I'm not doing anything. Kotel, Eli. Okay, so I said hello to him. From Lakewood. Nice guy. What? He did come to me first, yeah. He did come. No, because I wasn't available. So he said, okay, I'll go to the Kotel, I'll come back. And he almost missed his flight. Okay. Lakewood. Every day there's a guy from Lakewood. It's unbelievable. Okay, beautiful. Talking more weiter. Can we go weiter? Or we can talk about this unbelievable gift. Turn it on. Let me see what it looks like. Okay. Wow. Geschmack. They want to kill me young. Says the Mishnah. The Kohen Gadol, all he did was Erusin. He was Mekadosh, gave her a ring, but they never did Nisuin. Because if they did Nisuin, then she becomes a Chalala and automatically becomes Asur to the Yavam. Kohen Gadol Kiddush Almana, V'yesh lo ach, Kohen Hedyoid. So that's a case where the Kohen Gadol is not allowed to be married to the Almana. So she's Asur to the husband, mutter to the brother, because the brother is a regular Kohen, and a regular Kohen is allowed to marry an Almana. Kosher Shenasa Chalala, we got to move. Kosher Shenasa Chalala, a Kohen who's kosher, who married a Chalala, is he allowed to be married to a Chalala? No. What happens if a Kohen marries a Chalala? Does he become a Chalal? Anybody? No. A man can never become a Chalal. He can be born a Chalal. He can't become a Chalal later on in life. A woman could become a Chalala in her life. But this Kohen who is kosher married a Chalala. He's not allowed to be married to her. V'yesh le'ach Chalal, but he has a brother who is a Chalal, and he's allowed to be married to the Chalala. So another case of the original husband, Asur, the Yavam Mutter. Yisrael Shenasim Mamzeres. Again, we're not saying any big chidushim. It's more of a chazara on the Masechta, trying to go through different halachas that we learned. Yisrael Shenasim Mamzeres. Is the Yisrael allowed to be married to Mamzeres? Absolutely not. V'yesh le'ach Mamzer. But he has a brother from a father had a relation with somebody else, and he has a brother, a Mamzer. So that Mamzer is allowed to marry the Mamzeres. Mamzer Shenasim Bas Yisrael. Mamzer Shenasim Bas Yisrael. V'yesh le'ach Yisrael. If a Mamzer married a Bas Yisrael, that marriage is illegal because he himself is a Mamzer, but the Mamzer has a regular brother, so the Bas Yisrael could be married to that regular brother. These are all cases that they're Asur, the Mutter to the Yavam, the Asur is Lebaleim, and they were originally usher to the original husband. Ve'elu asuras leilu le'elu. Here is the third category. Kohen gadol shenosas almana. Ve'yesh liach kohen gadol. A kohen gadol is not allowed to marry an almana. And he married her. Now it's not talking about kiddushin. Rabbi said, remember this word nasa, because we're going to say that this is why we said in the beginning nasa, because of this word right over here in the third category. Kohen gadol nasa. He married, and he made the almana what? A halala. By him marrying her, she's a halala. V'yesh liach kohen gadol. Okay, so he has another brother, kohen gadol, who was once he stepped in for him, and they came back. They were both kohen gadols. Not at the same time, at different times. So she cannot fall liibum to the brother, the kohen gadol. Oh, kohen hedyot, kosher. Oh, kohen hedyot kosher shenasach halala. V'yesh liach kosher, or a regular kohen hedyot who married a halala, not allowed. V'yesh liach kosher, but now she's an almana. She's also v'yesh liach kosher. So. Kohen gadol, kohen hedyot halala v'yesh liach kosher. Kohen hedyot kosher shenas halala. They're right. They're both asher. V'yesh liach kosher. He's a regular kohen. He's also to marry a halala. Yisrael shenas mamzeres v'yesh liach Yisrael. Both brothers are not allowed to marry mamzer, just like both brother kohen who can't marry halala. Mamzer shenas Yisrael. A mamzer who married a regular Yisraelis, which was also v'yesh liach mamzer, and he has a brother who's a mamzer, and the bas Yisrael is not allowed to be married to either one of them. Asirois l'eilu l'eilu. Ushar kol anashim mutars lebaleim v'liv meim, and anybody else that doesn't have an isser, not a chal, not a mamzer, so they're all good to each other, and they're all good to the yavam. Shniyos medivrei soifrim. Remember, this was a chiddush gadol ma'od when we learned it. A grandmother, one's own grandmother, your father's mother, is mutter to you. You're allowed to marry your own grandmother, midiraisa. But she's a shniya. Only midirabbanan, you're not allowed to marry your own grandmother. So, shniya lebal, shniya leyavam. Here's right here. What happens is you have a couple that has a daughter. And then the plumber from Muncie marries her, and he also has another wife. They both, each wife has a child. So the two brothers, the Baldwin brothers, are brothers because they share the same father, the plumber. But they have different mothers. Goes Reuven, the Baldwin brother on the right, Reuven, he goes and he marries his own grandmother. Levi is allowed to marry Reuven's grandmother. It's not his grandmother. It's his brother's grandmother. So here you have a case where if Reuven goes bye-bye, Reuven's wife, which is his grandmother, falls liyibum to Levi. So what's the halacha? She is usher to Reuven, but not and mutter to Levi. Asur lebal umuteres layavam. Here you have a case where she's usher to the husband and mutter to the brother. What if it's the reverse? Let's say Levi married her. Just reverse the arrows. I didn't want to do a new picture, but it's obvious, the same case. But instead of Reuven marrying Reuven's grandmother, Levi marries Reuven's grandmother. That's 100% legal. The problem is that when Levi goes bye-bye, then Levi's wife falls to Reuven, and that happens to be Reuven's grandmother, and she's a shniya. Shniya leyavam leishniya lebal, asur leyavam muteres lebal. Is this confusing? It's so simple, but people are like, it's Yevamos and the grandmother. It's nothing. It's simple. Everybody has a grandmother. Just picture it. You don't even need a chart for this. Shniya leyavam leishniya lebal, asur leyavam umuter. What? Asur leyavam muteres lebal. So, what happened here? Shnil lebal v'lei shnil leyavam asur lebal umuteres lebal. Shnil leyavam v'lei shnil lebal asur leyavam umuteres lebal. Shnil lezeh ulezeh asur lezeh lezeh. If she's both of theirs grandmothers, great. She's also the both. Now, this shnia, this grandmother that you see over here, if Reuven goes ahead and marries his grandmother, ein la loy ksuba. What does ksuba mean? So it doesn't literally mean ksuba. It means, remember, nichsei tzoyim barzel. So, the way I understand it, I'm sure others will tell me that other Rishonim say differently or whatever, but the way it seems like from Rashi, that if a woman brings in a nursing home into the marriage, and she puts it in the ksuba as tzoyim barzel, it's going to be solid like metal. Meaning that today the value of the nursing home is $10 million. When she gets divorced, the husband gives her $10 million. Even though it's 45 years later, and the husband benefited every year, he got a $2 million paycheck, he gives her the $10 million. The nursing home is worth $100 million today, it doesn't matter, he gives her $10 million. In this case, it seems like, you could argue that that's not exactly the pshat. Well, let's just, I think this is the pshat. He takes the nursing home. We penalize her. You should not marry your grandson. What are you doing marrying your grandson? She'll go back and she'll crochet and she'll tell people, do not marry your grandson. It's not a good idea because if you do, you're going to lose your nursing home. V'loi peiros. V'loi peiros means we know that a husband in nichse milug, so not in tzoyim barzel. Nichse milug, again, it's geshmak. We're learning all these yisoidis musagim. If she comes into the marriage saying, I don't want achrayis, but the husband gets to benefit from the nursing home, he takes all the proceeds. Why? As we learned, because if she gets captured, and it was a common thing like in Mexico today, you get captured all the time, he has to pay big time to redeem her. So in return, he gets the proceeds of the nursing home. But this woman, Rashi says, it says in the ksuba, V'isvinach le'intu. I'm going to redeem you. I'm going to, what's the word? Not redeem. There's a better word, no? When you pay ransom. No, but when he ransoms her, whatever. When he pays a ransom, she's going to come back to him, it says. But she can't come back to him because she's his grandmother. So because you don't have that part of the ksuba readily available, so Mela, she loses her peiros. There's no peiros. So what Rashi's saying is, fakir. Typically the reason why you do get peiros is because he has to pay ransom. In this case, he doesn't pay ransom because she's not coming back to him. Nevertheless, he still gets the peiros. Unbelievable. Still thinking about this unbelievable gift. This thing. It's unbelievable. It's not normal. Okay. Hold it, Seth, for a little bit. Right over here. Yeah. Shema. Okay. Okay, no, you're a guest. Says the Gemara. It's Mishnah. V'loi mizoinus. Mizoinus means even if he went out of town and she had to borrow to live, he doesn't have to pay her back. Rashi says you never have to pay back if he goes out of town and somebody provides mizoinus. No, but if she borrows, then you do have to pay back. If somebody was nice to her, just paid it, gave her, sustained her. A beautiful meiser, but I really like this meiser because there was a very stingy guy, a known stingy guy in the neighborhood who died, and the Rav made every effort to come to the funeral. And they asked him, why? Who cares about this guy? He says, no. I know of 3 stories about this guy. And he said, who was it? B'ditcheva. I wasn't sure. It was the B'ditcheva. I know about this guy. What happened? There was someone who wanted to go out of town for months. And of course, his wife didn't let him. So he said, don't worry about it. I spoke to the gvir. He said he'll take care of you. He'll give you every week 2 ruble. She said, okay. If he said so, fine. So he leaves on his journey. She comes to the gvir. She knocks on the door. She said, my husband said that you're going to take care of me, support me. Oh, he thought about it. He realized that the guy lied to his own wife. He didn't say a word. He says, oh yeah, Taka, this stingy guy that everybody thought was stingy. Paid her the mezainis, she paid her, gave her all the money. The guy comes back after a year, and he sees that his wife is living nicely. She says, what happened? She says, you told me to go to the guy. I went to the guy. So he goes running to the gvir. He says, I can't believe that you did. I made some good money in Chutz La'aretz. I want to pay you back. So the gvir said, no. I was kind of the mitzvah. I don't want you to take away my mitzvah. So they went to the din Torah by the Baditchever. And so the Baditchever said, such a guy, you go to his Levi. You have to go to Levi. Nobody. The bottom line is nobody. First of all, Mikam Yisrael. You never know what the other guy is giving. I don't know if I mentioned this over here because it just happened recently. I feel like I did mention it. If I did, stop me. A guy in this neighborhood, a very famous Askin. He just a few, I don't know, maybe a month, 2 months ago. He's telling me he has big tinus on one of the most famous Bali Tzedakah in the world. He says, I went to him for my moised, and he didn't give me anything. He's the stingiest, kargest guy in the world, and it's known that he doesn't give anywhere. I was taken aback because this Gvir is like, he's unbelievable. So I told him, so like we were talking a few minutes, and I said, let me ask you something. How much money did I, Eli Stefansky, give this week on this block? So, he wanted to be nice. He says, well, probably a lot. No, I said, but how much? Like, how many almanas and this? How much? He said, I don't know. I said, you don't know how much I gave. I live on your block. I see you every day. We schmooze all the time. And you know what that guy over there in Chutz La'aretz gives? You have no clue. What are you going into this guy's bank account and saying what you did? It's a chutzpah. But anyway, it's fine. People love to do it and they start counting how much stuff you get. You have no idea. Fine. Next. V'loi b'lois. I didn't give anything that week. I'm just saying he didn't know. There's no one. V'loi b'lois. Now, if she comes in again with clothing, again, it's embarrassing clothing, call it. And they wore out. So over here is where Rashi says she doesn't get it at all. He takes it all. He takes her coats and everything. I think it also applies to the nursing homes and everything else. If you want to say it doesn't apply to the whole nursing home, it just applies to the money made off it, also good. It's a penalty. But in order to be a penalty, it has to be that she doesn't get something back. Okay, l'chayr means the whole nursing home. Va'avlad kosher. If you marry, believe it or not, unbelievable. I mean, the whole story is meshuggah to begin with. Guy marries his own grandmother. The child is kosher. He can marry a kahyan. She can marry a kahyan. It's unbelievable. But you have to divorce your grandmother. All these famous isurim, lav. A widow to a kahyan gadol, a divorcee, and a chalutza who had to perform Chalitza, she was a Yevamos, l'kayin hedyet, a regular kayin, mamzeres in Nesina Yisrael. Remember the Nesinim? We just learned it, that David HaMelech saw that they don't have Rachmanim, Baishanim, Goyel Chasadim. They wanted to kill they killed seven of Shaul's children, they hung them. That's why they're also forever. L'Yisrael, Bas Yisrael and Asin l'mamzer. Yesh lem ksuba. They get a ksuba. Says the Gemara, wow, we got to move here. Ma'iri the Tani Nasa. So the first case in the Mishnah, Muteris Labala in Asur Liyavam, we want to say a case where the woman is mutter to marry her own husband, but when she falls Liyibam, she's also to the Yavam. So it says that a Kohen Hedyet marries an Almana. Ma'irin the Tani Nasa. Why do you have to say married? Listen to Kiddush. It's enough to say that there was Erusin. You have to go all the way. Says the Gemara, so you're going to tell me, because if there's already a marriage, so this we already had, look at this pasuk, it says, there's also a lois, a negative commandment. Yikach is a positive, it's an asay, it's two things. But that's only if he's married to her and she's not a psula anymore. But if they only did erusin, so now you only have the first part of the pasuk, you only have a lois asay. And over here you have the mitzvah of yibum, esed doichalois asay, should push off the aveira of an almana. Says Gemara, everything in our Mishnah, the whole mamzer thing, everything, it's one lois asay. Nevertheless, you don't say he should be miyabim. The only chalitza. Says Gemara, I'll tell you why it says that lashon nasa mishum the kabbalah misna seifa kohen gadol shenasas almana. All the way at the end, right? In the third, I pointed it out. It says kohen gadol ve'elu asuris le'elu, where it almost becomes wide. Kohen gadol shenasas almana. So it says, since we're just mimicking Lashonos, imagine to memorize such a Mishnah. It's very hard to memorize a long Mishnah. So let's use the same kind of language here and there. Aval kiddush sharilei. So in that case, kohen gadol shenasas almana. Dafka nasa the shaviyul chalala is because he married her and he made her halal, as we explained then. But he just did kiddush and gave her shiur le, it's mutter. Tanina also. That's why we also use that same language. Says Gemara, wait a minute, you're going all the way to the third category. We're holding the first category. So use a language that's similar to the middle category. Over there it says that if he's Makadesh, over there you couldn't say that he was boiler because then it would make her a halala. Says Gemara, you know why you use that lashon? We knew this answer all along, we just wanted to figure it out ourselves. The next line, the neighbor says the over there, the chalal marries and consummates the marriage. Time of the nasa, it has to be real nisuin, the shavi halala. Aval kiddush, if he just gave her a ring, shiur, that's why Mishamacha Katani. So we're just talking about language now. Why does it say the language nasa? Because it's similar to a challah. It says Gemara my ear the Katani almana, listen to psula. Why does it say that he married an almana? It should just say he married a regular woman. And when he dies, guess what happens? Then she becomes an almana. Sponsored by my Horn in honor of the Gold Star Multi Donut. Sponsored obviously in honor of Eli Shkoyach. V'chite because of Aitan and Suner Shainim Apilim. A havamina of a havamina. It doesn't exist. But maybe I would say that as they get engaged, that's how she falls libum. In other words, whatever her status was at that point, that's how she falls libum. So since she was mutter then, so she's mutter, even though later on she becomes an almana or whatever. Says Gemara, but that can't be. Harei chalal shenas akshera. A chalal who marries a kshera, but she's kosher. At that moment that he married her, when he got engaged to her, she was kosher. No, but he renders her a halala later on, so we go what happened with later on. We don't care about what happened the first moment. So that's just a havamina. Says Gemara, havadai mishum seifa. The reason why we say that she's an almana, we don't say that he married a regular one, is because of the seifa. Mishum the kabbalah mishnah, again, language. Mishum the kabbalah mishnah seifa kohen gadol shenasas almana. In the end of the mishnah talks about an almana, and she became a halala. Especially kohen gadol kohen hedin as a brother. Dafka almana psula chazile. It has to be an almana, but if she's a psula not, so mishamacha kitani almana. Okay, now we know why it says almana. It's just mimicking again, just that the mission should flow a little bit better, easier to remember. Maskevler Rav Papa. I looked it up. There's about 50 times in Shas. It says Maskevler Rav Papa. I have to look other ones because I remember like Maskevler Rav Papa seems very familiar. Im Isa Laha Dechi Asa Rav Dimi Omer Rabbi Yochanan Mitzri Sheni Shenasa Mitzri. Okay, check out this chart. Very very simple. We know that a Mitzri in the third generation becomes mutter, like that guy with the payas. He's actually a third generation Mitzri, but he's a regular Jew. So the guy in the middle, he is a Mitzri. He has two wives. One is a first generation, one is a second generation. It always goes by the mother. So if Mitzris on the right, one, has a baby, what does that baby become? A two. If the one on the left, Mitzris a second generation Mitzris has a baby, he becomes a third generation and he becomes 100% mutter. So let's just think about this aloud. What happens if, now we go to the second generation. 2 marries a 2. So, and then he dies. So who falls liibum? A 2. A 2 falls liibum to the 3. Again, let's go to the children. On the bottom, there's a 2 and a 3. You see? They're next to each other. If number 2, a second generation guy, marries who he's supposed to marry, he's only allowed to marry a 1 and a 2. He can't marry a 3, he can't marry a Jew. So he marries a 2. And then he dies. So his wife, a 2, falls liibum to a 3. Is that a good yibum? No. Because he's a Jew. He can't be miyabimer. And the 3 who dies after he married a regular Jew, his wife cannot fall liibum to the 2. What if they reverse it? What if a 2 marries a 3 and a 3 marries a 2? In other words, they did something that's illegal. Yeah. But because the Gerim just, they can't come into Kahal. The Jews.
If they are not Gerim, they're still one.
Mm-hmm. Very good. There's 0.
Zero or they one.
Yeah.
Zero.
They have mitzvahs. They're doing mitzvahs. Just they can't marry into us. So let's see the thing. It's very, very simple. 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. Okay, you got it. Okay, great. A 2, shenasa mitzvahs rishayna, b'na sheni. Why? We always go by the mother. So if he marries a 1, then the baby's a 2. Even though he's a 2, the baby should maybe be a 3. No, we go by the mother. Says the Gemara, ask the Gemara question. So let's say a case of listening nami mitzri sheni shenasam shtei mitzriyos. This case right over here, a 2 mitzri married 2 wives. Achaz rishayna, one is a 1, v'achashniya, one is a 2. He had kids from both. If these children married who they were supposed to marry, then mutaris labaleim. Let's grab the 2. He married a 2 mitzris, a woman mitzris. He's allowed to marry her. But when she falls li'ibo, masur li'ivmeim, she's also to the Jewish guy. V'ipoch, v'nasav. What if the 3 married a mitzris, which he shouldn't have because he's a pure Jew? Mutaris li'ivmeim, the 2 is allowed to marry the 2 mitzri, but she's also to her own husband. Mutaris l'ilo, giyares. What if both of them marry giyares, asur l'ilo, islandess, only in a case where the number 2, listen to this carefully, if number 2 marries the islandess, not if number 3. Number 2 marries the islandess, so she's allowed to marry him. But Asuris Leilu, islandess. She's not allowed to marry islandess. Why? Because she's Jewish. So 2 cannot marry a Jewish islandess. And when the number 2 mitzri dies, she falls to number 3, and you can't be miyabim islandess. There's no yibum on islandess. So also to both. Says Gemara, the famous teretz, ton of a shiur. Okay, you're right, it's a great case, but the Mishnah didn't mention all the cases. But whenever the Gemara says that answer, it's only when we are mishayir another case. What's that other case? My shiur, the high shiur, shiur patua daka. Real quickly on the chart, if a yavam marries a patua, if the yavam himself is a patua daka, then the wife that fell to Yibum cannot be married to him because he's a Petzua Daka. If the husband is a Petzua Daka, then she's not allowed to be married to the husband. So here you have a case where she's not allowed to be married either to the Yavim or she's not allowed to be married to the husband. But if both brothers are Petzua Daka, she's also to both of them. Now, if both of them are Petzua Daka and she happens to be a Giyaris, then she's mutter to both of them. Says the Gemara, Shiur Petzua Daka. No, that's not a good one. That's not a good example of leaving out. Because that's Tzudaka is just a regular lav. And the whole mission is talking about Almana, Grusha, the whole thing. So, therefore, why didn't we add Mitzri? We're still there at the question, why didn't we add a Mitzri? Says Gemara, wait a minute. The mission starts off with one case of a lav, goes to another one, to a mamzer, says Gemara, says another case. Says Gemara, there's a big chiddush in those cases. So they're not extra. The amazing chiddush that a kohenes, a woman who's a kohen, comes from a kohen, she doesn't have an isser to marry a chal. But wait a minute. It says also in the Mishnah, Chol that married a kshera. B'Yisrael shenasa bas Yisrael v'yeshli ach mamzer. So therefore, we could have written a Petzua Daka and a mitzvah. So what exactly was the Mishnah? Says the Gemara, Anami loy mehader misnahi tashmin and lav shenishav bakol. Because all these cases are talking about Kehanim. This is not a lav that's equal to everybody. And therefore, I have to continue on and say another chiddush Kumash Mallah and lav hashav bakol. Then I tell you also a mamzer. So different lavim here. It says Gemara, Haktani Yisrael, but there's another case. Okay, so fine, you told me a mamzer, and that's a lav that's equal by everybody. But Haktani Yisrael, Shanasa Mamzer, is Yach Yisrael. Shanasa Mamzer is one of these you have to take out. But the bottom line is the Mishnah says 2 cases of a mamzer. Why do you need 2? A lav, shmamino, ton of a shiur, shmamino. So at the end of the day, we do have the extra case of Sudaka. And therefore, that's why I also omitted the case of the Mitzri. I guess we have to stop here. Have a wonderful day. Yishkoyach Reb Moshe Hirsch. Reb Moshe Helmet. It's unbelievable. It's like